and Leave campaigner to join me a lot in the next month. Nicky Woolf, welcome. Follow him on Twitter at Nicky Woolf. He's the new Statesman America editor. Tell our audience how you see this 12-12 election shaping up in the United Kingdom.
Hi. Well, I mean, it's unlike any election that's really happened before. You've got the two main parties which have dominated British politics for more than a century. That's Labour and the Conservative. You've also got these two insurgent parties, the Liberal Democrats and the Brexit Party. For the first time in British political history, they're polling. Some polls have put them basically in a four-way tie. Most polls have the Lib Dems nipping at Labour's heels by a couple of points ahead of them in a couple. The Brexit Party nipping at the Tories. But because of the way the British election system works, it's called first past the post, there are some areas where the Brexit Party might draw enough support from the Tories to allow a Lib Dem or Labour candidate to get through. Somewhere Lib Dem support could draw enough away from Labour to allow Conservatives. And the kind of electoral mathematics is absolutely all over the shop. So it's kind of anybody's guess exactly how
I want you to write down my prediction, Nicky, from November 4 of 2019. I think the Liberal Democrats, this will be the 1922 election of this century. In 1922, Labor eclipsed the Liberals of that era for the first time. And I think the Liberal Democrats are going to shoot past Labor because Corbyn and McDonald are so crazy. And the anti-Semitism, et cetera. So I think they'll become the loyal opposition. But what I'm really trying to get at is, does everyone in the United Kingdom know the stakes involved? I'm not sure they did during the last election. I'm not sure everyone was keyed in on what was going on. Does everybody know what a turning point this is in the nation's history?
I think so. And I think this represents, because obviously the Brexit referendum 3.5 years ago, Brexit has obviously completely dominated the news since then. And what this election, I think, is going to show is that British politics is no longer split into Labour and Conservative as the binary. The British electorate is now split Leave versus Remain, and that's kind of both parties in half. So you've got this realignment that involves these other two parties coming along. So, I mean, interestingly, it's my prediction, and I think the Tories will probably get a slim majority, maybe one that will mean they have to go back to the DUP again to get a working parliamentary majority. But some estimates that I saw yesterday, this would be absolutely just the most hilarious outcome for kind of political watchers, would be that Remain consensus politicians would be some Labour people, the Lib Dems, or basically a second referendum consensus could hit around 320 seats in Parliament, and an anti-second referendum consensus, the kind of get Brexit done type, would also hit 320 seats in Parliament. That would be an absolute deadlock, which would be crazy.
It would be. I actually don't think that's going to happen. I know that tactical voting was the obsession when I was in Spain and the United Kingdom, and everyone talking about how people are going to vote tactically in ways that they've never seen before. But at heart, what you said, this is a Leave versus Remain election. There's also a great deal, I sense, you tell me, Nicky, of people who are just ticked off at Westminster that the government didn't do a thing for 3 years, and those people are mad at the left and the center. They're not mad at Boris and the Tories who said we're trying to leave. They're mad at the people who didn't do anything.
I think there's a lot of generalized anger, because remember the Conservatives have been in power. They've been the party of government since Brexit happened. I think when you go to a lot of these seats and people are saying Brexit hasn't been done, the question has been, well, the Conservatives have had two prime ministers since Brexit. Why have, three if you count the sort of hour and a half David Cameron was still prime minister, but haven't got it done. That said, no one seems to know what Jeremy Corbyn's position is on Brexit. He's certainly not been nearly as clear as the Conservatives, but the Conservatives' unclearness has happened when Boris promised to get Brexit done.
Let me get one quick question in,
Nicky.
I think that the anger revolves mostly around Philip Hammond and Jonathan Bercow. That they represent everything that the average British voter hates, whether they're Labour or a Tory leaver or a UKIPper, now Brexiteer, or a Liberal Democrat, that Philip Hammond and Bercow represent elite, class-based politics, and that we're going to see a spitting out of that. What do you think?
I think that there is definitely that anger around. It's also difficult to see that anger, though not rebounding a little bit on Boris Johnson, who obviously went to Eton, same school as David Cameron, obviously very, very class-based himself, so it is sort of difficult to see how that plays out.
That is what we'll continue to talk about. I appreciate your helping me out. Follow him on Twitter, Nicky Woolf. I'm going to come back with Matthew Elliott at the top of the hour. Don't go anywhere, America. It's the Hugh Hewitt Show.